Can this crazy expensive Spiderlight gaming PC actually justify its over $8,000 price tag? Even if you don't have money pouring out your ears, you're still going to want to check this out. We've reviewed a lot of gaming PCs over the past few years, but this one is the most unique and bold design out of them all. And we're going to walk you through our hands-on experience to help you decide if this top-tier PC is right for you in this not sponsored honest review of the OriginPC Arachnid. This configuration that we have here for you is maxed out with the new AMD Ryzen 9 9950 X3D, the world's greatest gaming CPU, and the cream of the crop, super powerful NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5090 GPU. I'm going to quickly take you through the unboxing and what's included, gaming and creator benchmarks, design and build quality, the internals, thermals, fan noise, overall ease of use, pricing breakdowns, and comparing its price to performance ratios against the competition, and my overall top likes and dislikes. Even if you decide not to purchase this PC after anything that I say in this video, just keep watching because I'm also going to be sharing with you some alternative PCs that I recommend for every budget. I'll include links down below for all the products that I mentioned, as well as tagged directly on this video or using a QR code if you're watching on a TV. I guarantee that by the end of this video, you will know if this PC is right for you or not. This absolutely massive PC was actually shipped in a crate. One of the very few PCs that you actually need two people just to move it. After getting a preview of this many months ago at CES, I was really excited about this one. So yeah, after taking the lid off, it was way too heavy to lift the PC out. But then I realized the front panel of the crate comes off too. Then they give you this handy little handle to pull it out. And there she is. First thing in here is this little box reminding you to eat, sleep, game, repeat. And in here, we've got a bunch of accessories and cables for future upgrades, a pretty futuristic looking Wi-Fi antenna, an ROG card that you can scan to get a surprise message. What the f? You also get this little envelope with a nice 4-year warranty for your GPU after you register. That's actually pretty awesome. But then they give you these cheesy little graphics card stickers that you'd have to be a literal child to want to put anywhere. Then lastly, a water block installation guide and a graphics card quick start guide. And then yet another box with the same totally not cheesy eat, sleep, game, repeat text. In here you get some thermal paste, a bottle opener in case you need a drink looking at your bank account after buying this PC, even more cables and accessories, an ROG USB support drive, and your massive power cable. Then I quickly found out why they list the weight of this thing on their website with empty internals. They were pretty straightforward on the dimensions, but yeah, it's nowhere near that 27 pounds. Kinda weird to list what it weighs empty. When I put it on the scale, actually fully built out, well, that was kinda scary. I didn't like that, so let's try that again. Okay, one more time. A whopping 66.7 pounds. That's pretty heavy. Then pulling off the stretchy fabric cover, finally revealing this beast, you can see that they also wrapped up in here an insanely large mouse pad, as well as an even larger PC mat. As far as this design goes, it's my favorite that I've seen by far. This aluminum frame dual chamber design has hardline loops for both CPU and GPU liquid cooling, each with 3 120mm Corsair IQ Link fans. These fans pull in fresh cool air from both sides to cool down those radiators. Originally, I did like that on the website you can configure the liquid colors for the CPU and GPU separately, but now that I see that version in person, I think that I prefer everything to just be uniform like the one that I saw at CES. The frosted tubing on that one looks a little sleeker for this build as well. You can also get it custom UV printed with any of these cool graphics, but personally, I think it looks better without them. It costs $100 and also makes it take a full week longer just to get this PC. Diving into the internals, you can see that we've got two 32GB sticks of Corsair Vengeance RGB DDR5 RAM for a total of 64. That's honestly overkill for gaming as you don't need more than 32, but the more RAM the better if you're doing a lot of creative work like motion graphics, 4K editing, or 3D modeling and animation. If you select a 14th gen Intel CPU with this build, you can actually go all the way up to 192GB of RAM. That's a lot of RAM. Looking on the back of one of these sticks, you can see that zoomed in, we didn't actually get RAM with the highest timings. Kind of disappointing for a top tier build that's this expensive, but you won't really notice a difference with 4K gaming. One downfall to having a fancy hardline loop system like this is that it does block easy access to the SSD. I was still able to get it out, but it did take a bit longer. You can see that the one in this build is 4 terabytes of the new Corsair MP700 Pro. And when we tested it, we got speeds of 12,000 megabytes per second read and almost 12,000 write. That is insanely fast. If you do need to upgrade your storage in the future, the included X870E Hero motherboard technically has 4 more SSD slots, but they are next to impossible to access without first draining the GPU coolant, and then removing that one tube behind the GPU, and then probably removing the GPU itself just to be able to unscrew those metal plates in front of the extra SSD slots. So not really a PC that's easily upgradable. But luckily there is a few extra storage options that you can get pre-installed ahead of time with almost no markup. The most crucial and most powerful part of this PC though is that GPU. The one that they include in this build is a Gigabyte Aorus Extreme Water Force, and right now by itself is going for $4,300. Truly a top tier GPU that they included in here. Same thing with that X870E Hero motherboard. That's a $640 motherboard, and it's great for those of you wanting to overclock and squeeze every last drop of performance out of your PC. Then swinging around to the other side of this PC, back here is the power supply that they included, which is a 1200 watt modular Corsair HX 1200i PSU. This is a high quality, high efficiency, low noise, 80 plus platinum power supply. Now for the ports, you've definitely got plenty of USBs here. 8 total USB-A's and 5 USB-C's. 2 of them being USB 4s with speeds up to 40 gigabits per second. Now for the software, being that OriginPC is owned by Corsair, of course they're going to use the IQ app. Its dashboard is going to give you all of your real-time stats. This is also where you're going to go to adjust your fan profiles depending on how much cooling you need. Honestly, leaving this on balance did a pretty good job. You've also got this tab here for customizing that CPU cooling blocks LCD screen with GIF animations, real-time stats, or even an actual YouTube video. This is also where you're supposed to be able to go to control all of your RGB lighting effects. You actually have to control the GPU water block with a separate app called the Gigabyte Control Center, and then the RGB on the motherboard with yet another one called the Armory Crate app. That was just a little annoying. Luckily, making everything a solid color is pretty easy to sync. I will say don't select the red coolant when you configure this PC. It honestly responds to light colors really weird. All of them somehow look bluish through that red liquid. I recommend either clear coolant for both sides or the same color coolant for both sides. As far as any more customizing or overclocking, there's plenty more that you can do within the BIOS as well, but I do need to mention that I did get this PC with a pretty old BIOS, which that attention to detail was surprising for OriginPC because they did know that this PC was going to a reviewer. They did tell me that the latest BIOS should be installed for each new order though. When it came to the fan noise, you can see here in the charts that compared to the rest, this one is just slightly louder than average when this PC was in the extreme fan profile. Also nearly the quietest if you used the balanced fan profile. And in that mode, we actually had the same exact gaming performance that we did in extreme mode. But this is what they sounded like in the most aggressive extreme fan profile. Now for the thermals, you can see in our thermal imaging time-lapse from computer off to full-on gaming where the majority of the heat starts to accumulate on this PC, just above the CPU and right behind our liquid-cooled GPU. And you can see in our charts that we actually don't see any extra special CPU temperatures when we game at 1080p. Although we didn't reach throttling limits, I am actually a little disappointed that this PC didn't have a cooler 9950 X3D CPU considering it's an open-air chassis. Pretty much every top-tier PC has liquid cooling for the CPU, so I didn't expect it to be cooler, but I also didn't expect it to be hotter than average. No one buying this PC should be gaming at 1080p though. That would be an insanely huge waste. We sorted our 4K gaming tests by the GPU temperatures, and here you can see that with that liquid cooled GPU, we got the coolest temperatures that we've ever seen for a 5090. The only GPU we've tested that came out cooler was that way less powerful 9060 XT. Now getting into the good stuff, performance and gaming benchmarks, and up next, the most important part of this review, the price to performance ratios. For Cinebench R23, which simulates its 3D rendering power, we got a multi-core score of almost 41,000. Then putting it up next to all the others, you can see that this is actually slightly on the lower end compared to other top-tier PCs. But another very helpful test for 3D renderers is the V-Ray benchmark. And these were our CUDA, RTX, and overall V-Ray performance scores. You can see in this chart that it performed very well when it came to 3D rendering with V-Ray. Still not as good as the much less expensive Skytech Legacy 4 though. This is a CPU-based rendering test that demonstrates how well a PC can handle the more advanced realistic rendering that takes a lot longer to calculate. The GPU rendering score though is for those of you doing a lot of high polygon 3D modeling or real-time viewport rendering and lighting. And this chart right here demonstrates how incredibly powerful the 5090 GPU in this PC is. The best that we've ever seen for this test. And if any of you are also creators that do a lot of 4K editing or motion graphics work, then you'll be pretty pleased with this Adobe Premiere benchmark with a score of over 17,000. This is also the highest score for this test that we've seen out of all the gaming PCs that we've ever tested. For 3D Mark, which is normally a pretty good benchmark used to predict a computer's overall gameability, you can see here that it was a little below average compared to other top tier 5090 builds. Not sure why this is, because in actual gaming benchmarks it did pretty good. These were our average and 1% low FPS numbers that we got for several games at their highest presets at 1080p. Yes, these are technically satisfying FPS numbers, but averaging all of these together and putting them up next to other top tier PCs, you can see that overall there were several top tier PCs that actually beat it, all of which are way less expensive. Then at 1440p, you can see that it caught up a bit and was just about as high as the rest. But then for 4K gaming, since we start to rely heavily on that water-cooled GPU and less on the CPU, finally we get the highest FPS that we've ever seen overall. And because those GPU temperatures were so low, this PC is much safer to overclock past that if you want to.
Let's check out some actual Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay. And of course, we're going to take it to the ultra graphic presets. Look at all those beautiful settings. 4K. Wow, that looks beautiful. There is a little tearing, but that's just because I have VSync turned off. I just want to make sure that we're not capping out our FPS for this demo. We're holding a pretty good 120 FPS average, which I'm pretty impressed with. You can see the 1% low still above 60 FPS. Let's go ahead and change the game settings real quick. Ray tracing overdrive. Let's check that out. Wow, still above 100 average FPS and ray tracing overdrive. Of course, we do have DLSS on, but I don't really see any DLSS artifacts. But let's go ahead and turn off DLSS and see what we got. Ooh, that ain't pretty. 41 FPS. This is probably the most brutal thing that you can do to a gaming PC is ray tracing overdrive without DLSS. What about just ultra with DLSS? Ooh, look at that. 182 average FPS with DLSS on. So this is with ultra graphic presets, which honestly doesn't look that different from ray tracing overdrive. But now for the game that everybody wants to see, let's go ahead and jump into some Fortnite. Those numbers that you saw in the charts from that last section are actually part of this Fortnite benchmark. I use this one for the charts because Fortnite is always changing. This is the only thing that remains consistent. But now we're going to check out some actual Battle Royale. You can see that again for this game as well, we're using basically maxed out graphic settings. There we go. About 174 average FPS after we get the game going a little bit. I gotta tell you though, this game looks amazing with epic graphic presets. Oh snap. Ah! I'm gonna try with the controller this time. It's so much smoother with the controller. Where are they at? That's what I thought. So after playing for a bit, we've got 185 average FPS. Not bad, especially at maximum graphic presets. Uh-oh. Where's he at? Where's he at? Oh, there he is. Take a seat. Can you stand underneath these things? Nope. You cannot stand under a pod. Learned that just today. Who was that? See, this is where 4K really helps, is when you're sniping. Everything's just so sharp. Oh yeah. There we go. Yeah, so still 167 average FPS. It's pretty good. Ah, you know I was here. You know I was here. Ah. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I got him. Ah. All right, let's go ahead and turn on DLSS, set it to performance, and see what kind of FPS we get now. Wow, look at that. 250 average FPS with DLSS on. There he is. Poor guy didn't even get a weapon. As you can see, after playing a bit, we're at 260 average FPS, which is incredible at maximum graphic presets. So, oh, who's that? Who's that? Oh, here he comes. Ah, no. There we go. He didn't even get a shot off on me. Ooh, that's all good stuff. That's like Christmas. Oh, another one. Ooh, no, I need that purple Deadeye. 3 more left. All right, me and one more person. Oh, that's not good. Oh, you only had one of those, and you wasted it. There he is. Get that tower out of here. Oh my gosh. Man. Ah, he was good. Prime Warriors. So 235 average FPS with epic graphic presets. That's pretty awesome.
But yeah, right now at the time of this recording, this PC is going to cost you $8,400. And looking at our charts, you can see that as we expected, its dollar per FPS ratio is way more than the others. So the least bang for your buck top tier pre-built. This PC is just for the ultra wealthy that want the best looking, top performing PC and don't care about the cost. I will say that a water cooled GPU always adds to the cost, plus this computer also comes with a 2-year warranty versus most computers at 1 year. It also has lifetime tech support. The best value top tier PC that we've tested though, that's actually still available, is that Alienware Area 51 with a 5090. That's if you're gaming at 4K. If you're gaming at 1440p or 1080p, I actually recommend the Skytech Legacy 4 that we reviewed, or the Corsair Vengeance A7500. Closer to $3,000, and I would get this version of the Skytech King 95 with the 9800X3D and 5080 GPU. I really like that PC when I reviewed it, and this one is way more powerful than that one. If your budget is closer to $2,000, then I recommend you get this CyberPower Gamer Supreme that I recently tested with the 5070 Ti GPU for $2,350. And if that's still too much, then I recommend you get this iBuyPower Slate 9 that I reviewed. This one's $1,700 and only about an 11% drop in performance from that CyberPower PC. And if you game at 1440p or 4K, it's nearly identical performance. You can click up here in the corner for that full review, or if you just want the quick benchmarks, here's how it performed per game at every resolution. And if you need to be closer to $1,000, then I would go with this Skytech Shadow that I recently reviewed with the 9600X CPU and 9060 XT GPU. You can see in the charts that it's not a good 4K gaming PC, but it's pretty decent at 1440p and 1080p. This will be about the same performance as a PS5 or an Xbox Series X. Overall, my least favorite things about this PC are number 1, that incredibly high price, and second, its upgradability. Not that it's impossible, it's just incredibly time consuming and tedious to do so. My favorite things about this PC, its incredibly unique and bold design, its extra quiet fans, creative app performance, and 4K gaming performance, and its overclockability, which in this PC, it is much safer to do so because of those low GPU temperatures. If you do decide to purchase this PC or any of the others that I mentioned, then please remember to use my affiliate links in the comments and description below, as well as tag directly on this video or using a QR code if you're watching on a TV, as I get a small commission at no cost to you for every single purchase made. And it's actually a major factor in keeping this channel going and getting better and better for you. Also, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe with notifications turned on to stay up to date with all of my latest tech and gaming PCs. PC gaming is awesome, but please do not let it take over your life. What helps me mentally is getting outside, staying active, eating healthy, and spending more time with my family. Also, studies have shown that reading the Bible at least 4 times a week can massively improve your mental health, and I can attest to that. And if you are a little skeptical about the Bible, then check out the book or documentary, The Case for Christ.